On to the weekly meeting of the Webster County Board of Supervisors. First item on the agenda is to approve the previous meeting minutes.
Mr. Chairman, I'll move item 1. Mr. Chairman, I'll second.
We have a motion and second. Do we have any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item number 1 passes. Item number 2 is to receive and place on file drainage repairs. I have today several drainage repairs. Interesting thing, they're all turned in by supervisors today. First one is in Drainage District number 1 in Maine, Cooper Township. We have to repair a tile block in the ditch bank, this was turned in by Bob Singer. The second is for Drainage District number 29 in Clay Township, and we have a collapsed concrete tile in the ditch, turned in by Supervisor Campbell. Third item is Drainage District number 145 in Lost Grove Township. We need a repaired head wall at an outlet. This is also turned in by Supervisor Campbell. And the third one today is for Drainage District number 2 in Lost Grove Township. And we have a broken concrete pipe in the ditch. And this is also turned in by Supervisor Campbell. So do I have a motion to receive and place on file drainage repairs?
I make that motion, Mr. Chairman. Second.
We have a motion and second. Do you have any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Excuse me. Item number 3. Receive and place on file manure management plan updates for Grettenberg South in Section 19, Dayton Township, and Grettenberg North in Section 8 of Dayton Township.
Mr. Chairman, I move item 3. I'll second.
We have a motion and second. Do you have any discussion on this? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item number 3 passes. Item number 4, approve a Class C beer permit renewal application for the Coolville Stop and Shop.
Mr. Chairman, I'll move item 4. I will second.
A motion and second, any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of the renewal, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Item number 5, approve and authorize transfers from the General Basic Fund to Secondary Road Fund and from Rural Services Basic Fund to Secondary Road Fund as per the fiscal year 2013-2014 budget.
Mr. Chairman, I move item number 5. Second.
A motion and second. Do we have any explanation from the illustrious auditor?
You do. It's not quite the full amount of the transfer, but based on the tax collections to date, you are transferring. Well, how I got this one. Anyway, this is per fiscal year 14's budget.
Okay.
Let's not talk about
The fill in the blank. So this would be reported in the newspaper as an undisclosed amount, or
no, not to exceed the amount.
not to exceed that as authorized in the budget. Normally, what's going on is we levy the taxes, and then it is put into the secondary road fund as
You levy taxes for the
general basic.
general basic and rural basic. Because secondary road fund is not a levy in this fund.
You appropriate.
No, they are, that appropriations are different.
Oh, that's the.
That's different. That's where they give you the authority to spend it.
Just
So
want
now we're actually putting the money in there.
Right.
Yes.
Just the total amount that was budgeted and levied for was $2,640,042, and by this is the second transfer 2 of 2, and will be short by $23,379, which is just under a month.
I obviously gave it to you.
Yeah, no, I don't have a sheet with me, but I wrote myself a few notes. But I mean, we're about 1% shy of the full amount that was budgeted, and which is a little over $23,000 short.
And we'll try to visit that at the end of the month.
Okay.
After
And
the-
that is, the shortage is due
After
to
the tax.
revenues.
Right.
Okay, so pay your taxes. Any other discussion? He doesn't. Okay, I will call for a vote. All in favor of approving the fund transfers, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Item number 6, consider a request from the Ann Smelter Charitable Trust to waive planning and zoning fees.
Mr. Chairman, I move item 6. I'll second.
Okay, motion second. Do we have some discussion or explanation? Ms. Lizer?
Yes, Norm Lundquist is here from the Ann Smelter Trust, and this is a little behind the ball in getting this done, but they're operating the Iowa Learning Farm south of Oldville. It needs to go through the conditional use process because it is a private, because it's owned by a nonprofit, not a public entity. And they'd like to request that you waive their fees because they're a nonprofit, and they'll be teaching and doing all those types of activities at this location.
Okay. Questions?
Have we done this for other nonprofits?
Yes, we have. One that comes to the top of my head would be 4-H groups. We typically waive fees for them.
Any other questions or comments?
Great project.
Okay. Seeing none, all in favor of the waiving of the fees for the Ann Smelter Charitable Trust, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Item number 7, approve assignment of county-held tax sale certificates number P92037 and P92044 in Dayton, Iowa to Darrell Montgomery.
Mr. Chairman, I'll move item 7. I will second.
We have a motion second. Do we have any discussion?
Mr. Chairman, this is part of the process of cleaning up county-held tax certificates. These tax certificates have been held by the county for consecutive years, and Mr. Montgomery has stepped up and offered to pay full value plus penalty plus interest, and then he will after he'll proceed with the tax certificate.
Okay. Any other comments, questions from the public? Okay. All those in favor of approving the assignment of the tax sale certificates, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Item number 8, approve and authorize the chair to sign a memorandum of understanding between the county and the city of Fort Dodge for the 2014 Burn Justice Assistance Grant.
Mr. Chairman, I move item number 8. Second.
Motion second. Do we have any discussion?
I think Mr. Stubbs would like to talk about this.
This is the same document as we did last year, and it's a shared grant, and it just makes Fort Dodge, City of Fort Dodge, the fiscal agent for this grant. And our share is, beginning share is a little over $8,000, and what we end up with is about $5,000 for us to spend.
And what do the grant funds do?
What we're going to use, the plan is to use them this year is for some more surveillance cameras in the jail and then a new light bar, and that will expend those funds.
Okay, any other comments? Seeing none, all in favor of approving and authorizing the chair to sign the memorandum, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Item number 9, receive and place on file a petition to amend the Webster County Ordinance number 35, a subdivision ordinance for the unincorporated portion of Webster County, Iowa, and further to set July 1st, 2014 at 10 a.m. as the date and time for a public hearing on the first consideration to amend said ordinance number 35.
Mr. Chairman, I move item 9. I'll second.
A motion and a second. Do we have a discussion?
This is just setting the hearing date, correct?
That is correct.
That would be my need for the current witness.
Yes. And what we have is we have a request from a county resident to make a change in our subdivision ordinance, and so wording and verbiage has been written up to do that, and so we need to see what the public feels about that. Any other comments? Okay. All right. All those in favor of setting the date for July 1st, 2014 at 10 a.m. as the first public hearing, and to receive and place on file the petition, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Item number 10, open sealed bids for supplying diesel fuel to above-ground storage tanks at Webster County Secondary Road Department's maintenance facilities.
Okay?
We're gonna open it when we approve it.
Yeah, you're right. You're authorizing me to open, right? So,
Yep.
they're sealed. Bids were sent out to Bison Oil, Doolittle Oil, G Mower Oil, Star Energy, and WH Cola. The purpose of this is what we're trying to get from these vendors is they bid a margin to furnish and haul fuel to our tanks. And the fuel price is based on a prearranged system with the DOT rack price. So we're not, everybody's on the same playing field. We're trying to accomplish here who's be willing to deliver the lowest price, the amount of gallons that we estimate we need. So I have key track, if you don't mind. Okay, so the bids were directed to come to my office by 10 o'clock, so I have 3 in hand here. Bison's first. Bison Oil put down 11-cent bid margin for all the quantities listed here. So 11 cents. So eventually what we'll do is take 11 cents times each of those quantities and get a grand total. Okay? I have G Mower Oil Company. For diesel number 1, they bid 18 3/4 cent, 0.1875. For diesel number 2, they bid 16 3/4, 0.1675. And for premium diesel, 19 cents, 0.19. And then the last one I have is W&H. Okay, for diesel number 1, they have 10.5 cents, that'd be 0.105. For diesel number 2, they got 9.5 cents, 0.095. And for premium diesel, they got 9.5 cents, 0.095. So, just mental math here, looks like W&H is low. What I probably recommend is just we receive and place on file what we read, and on the next week's agenda, if you allow me to, I'll send a contract to them and get it back, put it on the agenda for formal approval. Is that okay?
What do we pay this year?
10 cents. 10 cents.
So I'll make that motion to receive and place as well. Proper paperwork filled out. I'll second.
We have a motion and a second to receive and place on file the quotes from the 3 vendors. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, Randy. Next item on the agenda is to receive and place on file an updated Webster County sign maintenance policy for minimum sign retroreflectivity compliance as required by the manual on uniform traffic control devices, 2009 edition.
Mr. Chairman, I'll move item 11. I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion or explanation?
I'll try to explain. The federal compliance date for jurisdictions to implement and use an assessment or management method to maintain traffic sign reflectivity. The drop dead deadline is June 14, 2014. Now, what we have here is a revised one. We have a current policy that was dated, a current policy was dated January 20, 2012. And so the reason I need to update it is we changed software. It was more cost effective to switch software. It's still more readily used by a lot of counties now. And so we have to name software we have in this policy, but I just want to state that this federal law says you got to have a plan for assessing your retroreflectivity, the quality of your signs. This requirement does not mean that all signs must meet the minimum retroreflectivity by June 14, 2014. What is required is implementation of an assessment or management methodology. So we've had that plan and methodology in place for a couple of years. We're just revising ours, and to try to quickly explain it, we chose to go to this is a 2-page policy. We chose to do a manual inspection. It kind of strangely details how we do that. It also includes nighttime. Every few years we'll go on our grade and what have you, and there's a fluorescent. You notice out in the country you can really see signs well, the yellow, black legend. They're probably warranted for 7 to 10 years, you know, but over a period of time, the weather and the sun will reduce the reflectivity of these signs. And so,
How often do you guys physically go out and clean them off and wash them?
we don't do any worse or cleaning, other than, I mean, if there's happens to be a isolated case, but I mean, it's a you have, I don't know, 10,000 signs out there, and so it's a constant, you just can't, constant upgrade process. And over the past few years, we have received sign grants that will help. The current transportation bill emphasizes safety, and they do a lot of apply for grants that offset some of the costs. But the signs just, yeah, if they're put up properly and all that, they'll last a while. But if you get that many signs, you just need to keep due diligence to keep them at a certain level of quality.
I'm kind of surprised that with today's technologies and things that it's using human evaluation for what's acceptable.
Got a response to that. Another method is a retro reflectometer. And the problem with that is it's an expensive piece of equipment. It's $5,000 to $10,000. You got to calibrate it, and in order to do justice to how a specific sign is, you physically got to press it up against there and take 5, 6 readings. That's time, labor prohibited. Okay, it would be the absolute best way to do it. You got a device that measures, gives you an exact number, but 11,000 signs, and you know they're up in the air, and you got to put this right. You just can't shoot it once. You got to shoot it about 5, 6 times over the face of the sign. That's why we chose not to do it with a retro reflectometer.
How to spell
If you can say it 3 times, I'll give you
your audio. You don't care.
Do we keep track of when we put those signs in?
Yes,
How long
we have a sign, with this sign software, we have a date that we install the sign, and it's logged in the computer system and all that, so at least we're doing a little better technology there.
Well, you would think that somebody, you know, with today's technology would do that for that. Right. That's good. So, thanks, Randy.
Yeah.
So, any other questions for Randy on this sign maintenance policy? Thank you. Seeing none.
Go to 11,000 signs.
Yeah. So, do we have a motion? Do all those in favor of updating the maintenance policy for signage, signify by saying aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Item number 12, Approve final plans for bridge replacement project DRO-CO94-102-5-94 on 390th Street over West Buttrick Creek between sections 28 and 33, Township 86 North, Range 30 West, and authorize the project to be let by the Iowa DOT on September 16, 2014.
Mr. Chairman, I move item number 12.
Second.
A motion and a second. Mr. Will.
Yeah, just like the motion says, is what we need to have done here. I have the set of plans here, I've signed them, I need you to sign them. And the reason we go through this is that they need to be for the September 16th letting. And the reason we're letting it in Ames is we're using federal money, it's 80% federal funds. When we do that, we have to let it in Ames. And the deadline for submittal is next June 17th. So they have quite a early lead time to turn in the final plans. And we hope to have this let in September, and I'm sure there'll be a late start date of next year to get bids. And then this stream also has the peak of shining, so you can't do anything between May 15th and July 31st anyway. So I'll do that to you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any questions for Randy? All those in favor of approving the final plan, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Vote passes. Thank you. Item number 13, approve final plans for bridge replacement projects L-871209-73-94, L-871305-73-94, and L-871490-73-94, and set a bid letting date Tuesday, July 1st at 10:30 a.m. in the Webster County Courthouse.
Mr. Chairman, I move item 13. I'll second.
Got a motion and a second. Mr. Will?
Yeah, these three projects are, you can call them a bridge, but they're a smaller structure. They're not posted, but they're very deteriorated condition. I have pictures here if you want to look at them. And we've been aware of these three for quite a while, and then I don't know, 6 months to a year ago, they didn't clean out, and you know, it didn't help matters any. They dug the channel deeper, and so we're gonna replace these three with culverts, and so we'll have a letting, you know, on July 1st. And I got plans here for those, so this will be a local letting. And then I did hand out a map to you to, if you look at the map, you can understand what's been let, what's going to be let, and so you can keep up with what's going on. So
Are these all concrete culverts?
they're going to be metal.
Metal culverts?
They're going to. The reason is sometimes it's economics. I always prefer to have concrete, but I only go to a smaller size for economic purposes. I think you gotta get structures replaced and do what you gotta do. These are, 2 of them are 8-foot diameters and one is a 7-foot diameter pipe. And they'll be step beveled, so they'll blend in with the slope, and they'll have a tie down. So that if we have any heavy water flow, there won't be any uplift.
Have you ever heard of cutting off the ends of rail tankers?
Yeah, rail cars, I guess that's been done probably. Yeah, used rail cars, that's Humboldt County, there was an article in the paper a week or so ago. I'm a believer in, it's an option, let's put it that way.
Really?
But I guess I would prefer that there are standards out there for culverts and bridges. Like the previous agenda item, that's a standardly designed bridge. What we have to do as an office, we have to hire somebody to do soil borings, because we can't do that. And then by the soil borings, we determine how long piling we need, and then we do a hydraulic analysis to determine how long a bridge we need. But there are pre-designed bridges that we just pick off the shelf. The previous agenda was a 90-foot, 3-span, 90-foot long bridge by 30-foot wide. And so that saves a lot of time. And then these culverts there's standards on that. All you gotta do is refer to the standards and so forth. And I guess I'm gonna say that rail cars will work, but there's other things that you gotta be concerned about guardrail and all sorts of things like that. So maybe someday we'll do one, I don't know, but
What do
I
you
don't have
think?
any desire to do it this time.
Do you think is it a cost thing that they're looking at, or what?
Yeah, I sometimes, very careful what I say. Is it truly cost effective when you consider acquiring the rail car and the transportation, and then somebody has to rent cranes, unload them, and you still have to drive piling to hold the rail cars. I guess my understanding is there's put 2 or 3 rail cars together, and they'll have an application somewhere. I mean, but you gotta admit, if you have a road that doesn't have a very deep ditch, then you might not have enough room for the opening for the water flow. So you gotta have a higher, deeper ditch, I believe.
That's certainly off subject.
Yeah, good question.
This is the one that on Seacoast, or,
Yeah.
the bridge up there, that's been let?
No, this map I handed out is for FY15, which technically starts July 1st. We intend to do everything on that page. It just takes a while to develop all the projects on the page. So that's right now the one that's on the north, on 160th and the north side of the soccer field. That probably will have to be a bridge because there's a large enough drainage area, and hopefully it'll be let through the winter months and constructed next summer. And it's just a tiny, it takes a while to get everything ready with the staff we have.
Discussion about the driveway on that one too.
Yep, we'll resolve all issues. Yeah.
Okay, any other comments or questions? Not, all those in favor of approving the final plan, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item number 13 passes. Item number 14, approve and authorize the county engineer as the licensing point of contact and to sign basic ordering agreement with the Federal Bureau of Investigation Omaha Division for the property at 1907 230th Street, Fort Dodge, Iowa.
Mr. Chairman, I'll move item 14.
I'll second.
And motion is second. Mr. Will, do you want to explain what I just
Yeah,
read?
we're going to talk about the FBI. Hopefully they don't care. TV secrets here. So they, way back in April, they called, emailed me, interested in renting space at the Webster County's communication tower, which is at 1907 230th. And I kept Sheriff Stubbs and Emergency Management Director Tony Jorgensen in the loop. But I did work, I want to thank Steve Cook with Electronic Engineering. He was very helpful. So we've determined together that we have space, they're interested in our space. My understanding is they had a void in this area. We're going to relocate their communications from Ames up to Fort Dodge, and that'll give them better coverage. And the good part is they'll pay us rent, $432 a month. And then it has, for 10 years, but it has a 3% per year increase built into it. So I think it's a win-win. Electronic Engineering had no issues. They helped me kind of get the language tweaked a little bit. So, and if you don't mind, if I could be the point of contact and sign this, that would make it a lot easier for communications. So. And then as far as maybe you're aware now, where the communication tower is, the expenses of that tower are cost shared by 50% by emergency management, 25% by the law enforcement or sheriff's department, and 25% by secondary roads. We a few years back we got secondary roads got kind of the take care of the paperwork on everything. So it was a great honor.
And this, there it is, it's the tower out at our farm.
The county home property, and it's drive near there, you'll see it in the air.
Yeah, makes you wonder though if the FBI calls it, they'll get through it. Okay, any other questions? If not, all those in favor of authorizing the county engineer to be the point of contact and to sign the ordering agreement, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Item number 14 passes. Item number 15, approve and authorize the chair to sign utility permits from Lanza Construction to directionally bore electrical lines in locations 0, 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 69 for the Lundgren Wind Project.
Mr. Chairman, I move item number 15. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Do you have any discussion or comments?
I will throw out just an update from our meeting this morning real quick, that they hope to substantially complete all the concrete work by the end of next week, which is a good deal. And then their goal is to erect 8 turbines a week, and then as of this morning, they have 4 completed, erected. So their goal, if they really get a rhythm, will do 8 a week. So they're doing that.
Randy, have you had any challenges with the road, or how's our road agreement coming?
Very good. Dale and I viewed the roads last Friday, and then we again talked about it on Monday. There were just a few issues I sent, and then an email. They responded immediately. There are going to be, because of when you're pouring concrete and you got truck upon truck, there's going to be periods of time when if you have a low profile car, Buick or whatever, you're going to maybe, scrape bottom. But they have been pretty good about responding fairly promptly to our concern.
Thank you.
Okay. All those in favor of approving the utility permit, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item number 15 passes. Item number 16 is a presentation. We have Tim Kurgan representing the Iowa Municipal Workmen Comp Association to discuss Webster County's workman compensation insurance for fiscal year 2014-2015. Welcome. Here now, Mr. Kurgan.
No.
Welcome, Mr.
John
Nicola.
Yes. We'll have Tim come up in a second. First, I'd like to thank you for the time this morning to go over our work comp policy for the county. And it's great news to bring you because our premium is decreased by about $169,000 from last year. So if you remember, we had some claim issues 4 or 5 years ago that raised our premium up to about $415,000 2 years ago, went down to $310 last year. This year it's going to be $141,808 on your handouts there. So that's just great news for the county. That shows that employees are really taking the time. They're thinking about safety. I commend you on the safety committee. I know they meet much more often. And you're taking it serious. So it really helps because I'm sure with all the department heads here, especially Randy, told me that was his premium for a whole year was $140,000. So it will greatly help their budgets as they have other challenges to look at. Same with Jim Stubbs with his department. So I wanted to kind of go over a little bit with you on the handouts I gave you, and I gave one to the department heads as well. That first page goes over our premium breakdowns, and the big thing about IMWCA for municipalities is that it works just like a normal work comp policy where you have what you call a mod factor. So the mod factor is based strictly on claims experience, and it goes back over a 3-year period. The mod factor has been, if you're at a 1.00, that's just the base rate mod factor. That just means there's no surcharge and there's no credits for your policy. The county has been 0.91, 1.1. We were 1.23. That's when we had that large increase in our premium. The other great thing about IMWCA, I really have to commend them, is that they have much more discounts available. So they have a longevity discount because we've been with them a number of years, loss experience credit, and then also a large premium credit. Other work comp carriers, if you're in business, if your premium is pretty large, you can get a large premium credit, but it's not, like here it's 14%. So most of them are maybe in the 3 to 5, maybe 7% range. So one thing about IMWCA, the longevity credit, you're getting a 5% discount. huge one was really our loss experience credit, because, and I'll let Tim kind of go over this a little bit more when he visits, but that's an 18% credit. So, and then the other one is our large premium credit, which is actually 14%, which is pretty substantial. So, kind of in a nutshell, you're getting all these credits back. IMWCA gives you a 40% maximum, and Webster County has obtained up to 37% of those credits. So that's just, it's a huge turnaround for you. So, and as you remember, the last 2 years, we've actually had a surcharge, an experience surcharge, just because our mod was higher, our claims history, and I send out reports to all of you, at least to Carol, and it goes to Bob Singer, and also Amy Porter, monthly claim experience information, and we'll just keep that going the same way I think that. So your actual premium for the county was $351,000, and then if you go through and you put your mod factor, which now is lowered to 0.78, which is probably one of the lower ones I've seen even on a commercial account, that's extremely low. So that's a great thing for the county. Then you add in this 37% of all those discounts, that dollar amount is $101,000. So that just really is a huge thing that's not in the standard marketplace of work comp. And I'll let Tim kind of go over the good experience bonus. He can kind of explain that probably a little better than I can on that part. But, so our total premium is down to $141,000. And then we have a volunteer coverage. I won't go elaborate on that, but it's $100 a year minimum premium. It covers mainly what I've seen it used for is conservation. So if you have a group of Boy Scouts come out and they're spending the day cleaning parks or trimming trees or hauling stuff, they do have some coverage extended off our work comp policy to cover those volunteers that are out there. That's probably the only area I've seen it used is on conservation out there, it can be. So, any questions on that first page? First, okay. The next page, I just thought it's kind of nice to put a name to a face. So that gives you the staff of IMWCA. You'll see on the right-hand side, the second down, Jeff Colby, and he's the new director of risk services. He's basically the boss. And if you remember, it was Kurt Sawalstead, thank you. And he retired, and so Jeff has done a great job in there so far. Tim Kurgan, also our representative, our marketing rep, has done a tremendous job for us as an agent for you, and really takes pride in Webster County. So, and then we've had Ed Morrison, who's a loss control gentleman that comes. Ed couldn't be here today, but Ed really takes Webster County to heart, and you can tell his intensity. He was a former policeman, but he really cares about safety. He wants people to be safe. He came to me 2-3 years ago, and we really implemented some programs and tried to help get the county on track to get safety as a priority. Because one, you want to make sure people are getting home at nights safely. Two, you can see what happens to our premiums and what it does to your budget for all the different departments. So Ed's done a really great job on that area. The next page is just a little bit of a question answer about IMWCA, because they're not a standard insurance carrier. They're geared for municipalities. So it kind of explains how they do things, how it works. One nice thing I like about them is nurse on call, where anybody has an injury, doesn't matter if they're something in their eyes, or they fall out of a truck, or they get back sprain or whatever it might be, they're instructed by all the department heads just to call nurse on call automatic. and that's basically their, like a triage is what it really amounts to. So they get the ball rolling, they try to go through the claim and understand if it needs to be carried to the next level, so forth. So it's a great service that, you know, there's no charge to the county for that, but I've seen a lot of great support on that. It's really helped a lot for your claims. Next page just kind of goes over some of the services of IMWCA for you a little bit. And that next page is model programs, and Amy couldn't be here today, and I know she had a seminar, but this just kind of helps, and probably more in her area for, they give you some good examples of different programs that they can help you with. They do a lot of loss control videos, seminars, so they're there to support you. That's really their goal. The last page, and it's not, it's probably just kind of a good information to look over just at your leisure about the rates that we charge. So if you have a clerical person and they're 31 cents per 100 of payroll, or you have somebody in the engineer department that drives a truck and they're $12 a 100 payroll. So this kind of gives you what the rates have been previous 13, 14, what they'll be 14, 15, and some have gone down, some have gone up. Just it all depends on the loss experience. So that kind of gives you some of that information. So with that, unless you have any questions, I'm going to introduce Tim Kurgan from IMWCA. I'll let him kind of go over a little bit more here. And Tim,
We only got one question for you on the, go back from the other coverage. Would that also cover, we have PETA, I'm not sure what that stands for, the volunteer organization, local. They do like
gardening and all that.
Landscaping needs, would they be covered under that?
Yeah, if they're volunteer, and the
Volunteer.
county's brought them in.
Yes.
Yes,
Okay, good.
I would think they would be. Tim, you could probably back to
Okay,
that.
thank you.
Yep.
Good to know.
Now we had
Pica, there we go. Yeah, sorry.
Peter,
Start with the
Peter,
P.
not Peter.
Yeah, I know what you meant.
The animals. We are with the mermaids and everything.
One thing on that, Randy, if you have, this is like a $10 charge per volunteer, so
Okay.
we used to be 20 volunteers, and I think the audit's shown that we haven't had that many, so they dropped down to the minimum.
Yeah.
So I don't know if we have more than that, if we should bump this.
John, we picked that up at all.
You'll pick it up.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you could add as many as you wanted throughout the year. It's a $10 charge per person. There's a waiver of liability there. John can help you with that, but you can add as many as you want.
Okay.
And they'll just pick that up at all.
All right. So
You
you
have
did
that
very
coverage,
good.
yeah.
Good job, everybody.
Thanks,
So,
John.
thank you.
So I'm gonna give you these to hand out to. Yep. You wanna pass those around? Make sure Bob, there's a copy there for him. I know he wasn't able to make it today. Good morning, thanks for having me again. I'll try to be real brief here, but these are, these are fun visits for me when there's good news, and we've kind of, I say we, I really haven't, Amy Porter, Ed Morrison, John Dinklaw, they're doing the heavy lifting for you. They're the ones that are really your safety committee. I guess I'll start out by saying my hat's off to the safety committee and the leadership that Webster County has and has exhibited. I was here 2 years ago, I believe, and I think I was here a year before that because I've got two different sheets here. The first time I came, I handed a sheet that looked like this. This report you're getting today looks a little bit different. It's from a new underwriting software that we have. But this is what we handed out before, so if that kind of looks familiar. If you have something like that laying around back at your desk, this is the newer report that I'm giving you today. From the numbers standpoint, we'll talk about the business side a little bit, and then I want to talk about the personal side as well. In 07-08, your loss ratio was 175%. In 08-09, your loss ratio was 414%. So at the end of the 11-12 year, you had a 5-year loss ratio of 149%. So the numbers weren't good. We were going the wrong way, if you will. And I think that's when we really made a commitment and I know Ed, John mentioned, he's got passion. And he was probably not a lot of fun to be around. A couple of visits got a little kind of intense maybe, but this is what he envisioned and what the safety committee envisioned, these results that you're seeing today. In the 12-13 year, just to give you an example, make sure these numbers add up, your estimated payroll, or excuse me, estimated premium, was $416,000. So that wasn't, I mean, that's quite an expense to the taxpayers and to provide coverage. IMWCA follows the same rules that any insurance carrier would follow. We follow NCCI, the National Council of Compensation Insurance. They set the rates that you see that John saw that put out. But the one thing we didn't do is we didn't leave you. And a lot of carriers would have non-renewed an entity that had loss ratios of triple digits of those magnitudes. So we're committed to cities, counties, and governmental entities. That's my elevator speech, I guess, if I get somebody for 5 seconds. But and it's really unique. I've been in the industry a long time. Bob and I have a lot in common. We talk often, and he's been in the insurance industry for years, and that's just insurance companies. A lot of times that's what will happen. But we're real excited that you made the commitment to safety, invested in the safety committee, and it's really paying off today. Where you see your estimated premium today is just under 142,141. 808 will be the new number. So if you look at these numbers here, your mod, John mentioned the mod. There's a couple things that are driving your numbers. One is we had a surcharge on because of the high loss ratio, and that came off. So that was a 25% surcharge that was added on right away. Then your mod factor in the last 2 years has dropped from a 128 to a 196, and this year it's 0.78. And that mod factor is a multiplier towards your base rate. And the number the sheet that John handed out, there's a pure premium number there. My eyes are going here, but 351 is your pure premium, and that number had been around that's the base rate, if you will. If your mod was a 1, you didn't have any discounts, you just bought it off the shelf, so to speak. That's your pure premium. That's what the NCCI would say. That's how much premium you would need for the average risk that doesn't have safety programs, it doesn't have the efforts that you're putting in. So that's what the industry would charge. And then so we get into, so you multiply the mod, and the mod factor is an experience modification factor. It is a reflection of your loss experience. And so with the good numbers that you have here, 8%, 45%, you're 4%, you had really good loss history. So that mod factor, it has dropped dramatically. And so that's where a lot of the savings you're seeing have come in. And then we have discounts that are in place, and that loss experience credit, for example, is based on your mod factor. We have a chart, if you will, and if you're in the 0.7 to 0.8 range, you're at the 18%, I believe is what you mean, 18%. And so that's where that number comes from. So if the mod goes up, that number will change. But that's a direct reflection of the mod factor. And then John mentioned large premium credit as well. I want to get your attention down to the good experience bonus towards the bottom. That's a 0.82 multiplier you see. That's similar to what a standard carrier dividend program that they would have. And what we've done is it's a reflection that's based on the mod factor and your loss ratio again. But again, that's been very favorable. So you're maxing out, the max on that program is 18%. So you're maxing out on the good experience bonus too. So that's another great thing that our program does. It's a way for us to get back to fund balance, quite candidly. We're sitting at over $45 million in fund balance. I think I've given you some numbers in the history of the program before. But we write about $19 million in premium. We're sitting on over $45 million in fund balance, and that's the membership's money. So when that fund balance goes up and the membership has good loss experience, they reap the benefits of our additional discounts. And as John mentioned, they're in many cases they're going to be a lot better than what you can get in the standard market, just because we don't have shareholders. And like I said, this is your money, and so we give that back. We make sure we have enough money set aside for known and unknown claims, and then so that, in a nutshell, is kind of the numbers side of it. put all the numbers away. What this really tells me is your people are getting home safe. And that's what we're really all about. Our staff is dedicated to doing just that. Ed Morrison has done a great job and working with the safety committee, just the leadership of the board, and it's just been a great, you guys are a great success story. To see a mod go from almost a 1-3, which is really had been one of the higher mods that we had seen, and to turn this thing around and be committed to it, and it'd been really easy to get frustrated to say, you know what, this insurance is why we pay it. You guys deal with it. But the county didn't do that, and I'm really excited about it. And like I said, these are the fun visits when you get to come and do this, and so to all the leadership, I think we have not met everybody, but I think this is mainly primarily the department heads in the room. Your leadership has been really important too in the safety committee. Are there anybody in the room that's on the safety committee? Great. Well, thank you very much. Probably the first time I told you to come to safety meeting, you probably thought, oh boy, what am I getting into? But you know, it's got to be rewarding to know that people aren't getting hurt and they're getting home safe. And so that's really, again, I guess what I'll leave you with. So with that, what questions do you have? Well, on behalf of all of us at IWC, thank you for your membership. And
Did I hear you say that you and Bob were around a light?
we have a little bit in common, I think, of what I might have said.
I thought maybe single left and send in a ringer.
Let's ask him about Highway 20.
I drive it and I like it. That's about all I know. No, Bob's attended, and I know several members have attended our workshops and that we put on, and their commitment to just everything has been wonderful. So I thank you very much for having me.
Okay, thank you for coming. Appreciate your comments, and to the department heads and actually all the employees of Webster County, you know, keep up with your work, because it does, you know, we do work for the taxpayer, and it doesn't have an impact on the whole county when we do that, so thank you very much. Next item on the agenda is the citizens' opportunity to address the board. The item's not on the agenda. Dennis, did you need to go plug the meter?
Me too.
Oh, we have a commentator here.
Comedy.
Welcome.
Thank you, sir. Mike Devine's my name. I'm here for Mr. Campbell. I continue to ask questions about what's happening at the recycling center. I will tell you, and some of you know this, it appears that hundreds of thousands of dollars, it is alleged have been misspent. We're not talking about a few bucks out of petty cash. We're not talking about somebody putting in some more overtime. Hundreds of thousands of dollars. Last night I called up the website with a former employee's testimony before the Iowa Workforce Center. That employee, of course, is suing the recycling center. She believes she's been unfairly terminated. I would invite anybody to visit that website and read that testimony and make their own decision. I'm here today because I haven't heard a word in response from the county. Now, I know we have a county attorney who's leaving, nice person. Sorry to hear she's leaving here. But the fact remains that, at least in my opinion, with these sort of allegations around the area, someone somewhere should step up and say something. Now, I don't know if it's going to come from here. I guess the question I have, and I'll be done with it, what can the citizens of Webster County who hear these things expect from the county as far as addressing these allegations? Thanks. If anybody can answer that.
I guess I will take that one. Currently, all the information that we as a board, meaning the North Central Iowa Regional Landfill Association, has been referred to the county attorney. That last email from Ms. Coleman said that she will get to it as quickly as practically possible. We are waiting to hear from her on where she is at with that. Brian may have an update, I don't know. We have retained our counsel, our insurance company's counsel, and the Attorney General are waiting to hear from her on how she's going to move forward on that. In reference to the Iowa Workforce Development website. You know, that information was all stated under oath. It is very good listening. So if anybody wants to go to that, read that, and then look at our lawsuit, you can have fun with that.
So the Iowa Attorney General is not involved right now.
You know, at this point, I believe the process would be our county attorney would have to take the information, and if Ryan could correct me, she would have to refer it to him.
That's right.
And again, we are still waiting on her.
So none of that has been done, so
We're just waiting to
nothing.
see.
Okay. Thank you.
I'd like to reiterate, it's not the county's landfill, it's the region.
It's a regional
It's a
landfill,
regional
certainly.
landfill.
I didn't mean to imply it was just Webster.
Yeah, it's.
I didn't mean to imply it was just Webster County's problem,
Problem,
because
it's
it
part of
is.
the region.
But I'm sure that people in Calhoun and Wright County are asking themselves the same question.
Give us a ball to our county attorney because it's in our county, it's in my county.
Right, and if there were crimes committed, they would have occurred in
Yeah.
So again, we're just waiting to hear back from her, and so we can move forward too.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else care to address the board with anything? Seeing none, it's time for board supervisors committee reports. Does anyone have anything?
I want to thank the road crew. We called in, some neighbors called in some garbage that was dumped along, I believe, Mining Boulevard. They went out, did an excellent job cleaning it up. It wasn't easy to get to. But I'll work on some drainage repairs as we noted earlier. And other than that, we got landfill coming up next week.
One more reason that we need to keep the free day dumping.
We do have a free day dumping.
We were talking about not having that,
The city cleanup, you mean?
or the regional landfill, does everybody still gonna get one free day?
Till July 1st, yes.
Till July 1st?
Yep.
And then we'll have the opportunity to dump it.
Those people are gonna dump it in there anyway, so. But again, we do have the landfill, and which I do wanna clarify, and the Messenger did a good article on that. The free dump days that the cities currently have, the landfill is not stopping that. That is still gonna be available for the cities to utilize and all the communities around us to utilize. It's just, they will have to pay to bring that to the landfill. The landfill still has to pay the DNR fees and all our overhead and everything else. We were going to do it for free in the past. As we move forward, that system is still, that mechanism is still there. The cities will have to choose whether or not they want to put that in their budgets to continue with it.
Last week I had several meetings with Growth Alliance, different deals with Growth Alliance. Not much specific to report there, other than Kelly is actively now marketing the ag park, now that it's site certified. She's gone to a couple of national conventions, she's going to do another one next week. We're moving into that phase. Hopefully have some companies announced here. She's actively working with several over-the-fence companies out at the ag park. And we also are, they're also working with a couple companies in town, the BI Riverfront, a couple of them, so. Just basically want to report that they're aggressively marketing. Hopefully we'll have some announcements before long.
Well, I'll take the opportunity also, as long as we're giving kudos to county employees. I think I was asked to go along with the presentation group Friday that did a presentation to the Iowa Parks Foundation for development of a regional strategy to market parks, both from municipal, county, and state parks in the regions of Webster, Hamilton, and Boone counties. What I'd like to report is hats off to our county conservation director, Matt Cosgrove. This basically was spearheaded by Matt, and he in a very, very short period of time put the presentation together, put together the bus tour, fed the group that came up from Des Moines to tour the different areas, and so we have very exciting things happening with Webster County Conservation, and hats off to the director and the crew out there. So that's my report. Okay, I'll call for a motion to adjourn.
So,
All in favor? Thank you everyone for coming today.